Alright. Hello, my name is Steve. I own Findme Freight. It is 5:04 Eastern Time in Florida. This is the second attempt at making this video. The first time I was about done with it, and then the power went out in my office because I'm in Florida. Rain is crazy here occasionally, and yeah, long story short, it didn't save for some reason, so now I got to do the whole thing over, so I'm going to go a lot quicker this time. With that said, I own Findme Freight. This is not really going to be a promo. This is more going to just be trucking news. I'm going to talk about things that I find interesting. I'm going to talk about videos online, news, breaking news, spot rates. I'm going to obviously give a promo for my company. I'm going to talk about load boards. I'm going to talk about all sorts of other stuff. So with that said, I'm going to jump right in because it's 5 o'clock and I want to go home and eat because I'm tired and I'm a big dude. So anyway, next. So these are the topics that I've come up with talking today. Again, if you guys ever want to add to this or you want me to talk about a specific topic, let me know. You can send a message down there somewhere or over there or over that way. I don't know where it's going to be. Whenever I upload it and put it on Facebook and YouTube and all that good stuff. At any rate, I'll talk about whatever for my whatever. Anyway, so we're going to talk about Falcon Transportation. We're going to talk about Amazon from my perspective, that of a broker and a dispatcher and all that stuff. We're going to talk very briefly about the rates this week because they suck, and I'll talk about it. We're going to, every week I'm going to take a video off of YouTube that's transportation related, video off of YouTube or Facebook, and I'm going to add to it, critique it. If it's completely wrong, I'm just going to blast it. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll talk a little bit about my company, Findme Freight, but I don't want this to be a promo video, so I'm going to be very quick about it. We'll talk about our load board partner and why we use it and how we use it and all that good stuff, and then we'll see you next week when I make the next video. So with that said, I'll switch over. Falcon Transport, everyone knows what happened to Falcon Transport. If you don't, you need to take a good hard look at yourself because it was all over social media, completely all over. It was posted in my groups, it was posted in other groups, it was posted all over. So about Saturday at some point, I received notification that, I don't know how I got it, to be honest, but somehow I received notification that Falcon shut down. Let all their carriers send them a text and an email saying, you know, if you work for us, you no longer work for us, and find a new job. You know, stop doing what you're doing immediately, meaning stop driving the trucks and leave, and just done. A lot has come out since then. You know, I did report it right away, and the initial reportings and all that stuff that we heard about were pretty. It made it seem like it wasn't as bad, but it's been, I guess it's pretty bad. Very similar to that whole Arrow debacle several years ago. At any rate, they stranded their drivers. 535 drivers, I believe, is the last record, plus all their employees, the maintenance guys, the dock workers, all that stuff. Locked them out of the office, turned off the fuel cards, you know, essentially said you cannot drive our trucks. From what I understand, a lot of drivers just unhooked from the trailers, left them at truck stops, and brought the trailers back to the yards, unhooked, and took the trucks home, which is exactly what I would have done if I was close to a yard. Otherwise, I would have took the whole kit caboodle home until I got my check. Which brings us to the next point. Apparently, a lot of them didn't get paid, which is pretty sad. You know, coming from the transportation industry, even though I have nothing to do with it, I would just like to apologize on behalf of everyone that works in the transportation industry to those drivers. You know, we tried to do our part, posted in all my groups, you know, offered to help out drivers. I know a lot of companies and a lot of people have. You now have all these trucking companies coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, we'll bring on these drivers. You know, they're trying to, you know, get drivers. It's a shortage. That's the only benefit to these drivers that lost their jobs in this way is, you know, it's a driver shortage or seems to be. So you should be able to find a decent job relatively quickly, hopefully, knock on wood. But again, I'm sorry for your bad fortune on behalf of anyone that works in the industry, essentially. I sincerely hope that they go after that capital company that owns it. They go after all the high-ups in Falcon. Whoever knew that this was going to happen, they go after them. But with that said, I mean, that's about it. There's nothing else I can do. If anyone has anything else I can do or wants to add to it, shoot me an email, shoot me a message on Facebook, comment below, whatever they say on those social media guys. Anyway, next topic, Amazon. Now, I'm not going to talk about how awesome it is and all this stuff. I don't care. What I'm going to talk about specifically how it applies to a freight broker, or in my case, how it doesn't apply at all to me. Amazon is going to be, this will be a disruptor for the big guys that have the huge accounts. You know, for the little independent, brokers, it's not going to affect us. You know, I personally don't work with huge accounts. I used to when I was, an agent with the big 10 brokers that I used to be an agent for, but now I'm out on my own. I don't have millions and millions and millions to float having those big accounts. So instead I go after the small guys, the 5, 6, 7, 8 a time, shipments a week shippers. That's who I go after. Amazon's never going to be able to conquer that. And to be honest, I give it 6 or 7 months. They're going to end up getting away or giving away that no fee brokerage thing, because the drivers that are working for them have started already realizing it through our dispatching contracts. We have in-house dispatchers with several companies up in the Jersey area that are pulling this Amazon stuff and have been for the past 6 months or so. Rates were great. That's how they got all the drivers in. They got all the capacity, and now they're jacking their rates. Where they were getting $1,100-$1,200 for a 1,000-mile run, now they're getting $500-$400 for a 120-mile run. I think it's a 1,200. At any rate. It doesn't affect me. A lot of people on social media are like, "Oh, what are you brokers going to do now?" Oh, it doesn't affect us. That's all I can say. There's some people that think it will, maybe in 10 years from now, but who knows? By 10 years, I'll be rich and retired, and I'd say living in Florida, but I already live here. Anyway, next topic, because that's boring. The rates this week. It's another boring, horrible topic. Rates are still going up. They're going up now, even though this thing says that, April was pretty bad, March was okay, and February was bad. It's been pretty bad all around. We've got trucks today that we dispatched that we're just like, I'm just not moving. Just not moving. There's no freight. Let's hope that there's that Friday rush. We recommended a couple of trucks do that. Other trucks, we said, listen, it's not going to be any better tomorrow. We use forecasting tools so we can kind of see the capacity, and so they either moved their trucks or took some of those lower rates to move, just to a better location in hopes to get a better load tomorrow. I did have one driver, though, that was just like, I'm not sitting. He was actually in a decent location. I was just impatient. This dude took an 88-cent per mile load. I don't know. It's his choice. It's not our truck. We just are contracted to dispatch him. If he wants us to do it, then whatever. But my personal opinion, rates are going to start going up, hopefully. I said that about April, said it, towards the end of March. I figured they would have been going up by now. They haven't yet. I'm talking really quick because this lightning keeps shutting off the power here. So I want to talk really quick, get this video done and golden. All right, next step. So, wait, what's that? Oh, we have some breaking news. Trump is still our president. That's breaking news. Next. Didn't switch. All right, so this is where I talk about videos. This week's video comes from a Mr. Craig Bliss. He's owner of Freight Brand or something like that. But he's also got a really big group, freight brokers and truck drivers. Now I'm going to go off on a little tangent here, and I hope that's okay. First, I'm going to give a little disclaimer. I did reach out to Mr. Craig first and say, hey, Craig, would it be okay if I list your company on here? And he's like, well, I want to see the video first. Well, whatever. Too bad. Freight brokers and truck drivers is his group. Now, with that said, you probably think I'm going to attack the guy. Actually, no, his video that he posted yesterday where he did the Facebook Live Q&A was awesome. It talked about everything. He gave a lot of helpful advice. I only take a couple of things, and they're all related to sales. And he may have sales experience, but coming from my perspective, which is a super heavy executive level sales experience resume, I'm just going to critique a couple of those things, and then with that said, I encourage everybody to join his group because he's a wealth of resources. He knows a lot about the industries, and for being a young guy, I don't know how old he is. I'm young too, but he knows a lot. He seems pretty helpful. He helps a lot of people out in his group. I don't know if he'll let me stay in his group now that I'm critiquing a portion of the video, but like I said, whether or not I'm in the group or not, everyone should join that group if you want to learn about the industry. That's my opinion. Okay, so with that said, in the first part of his video, he talked about sales, and he talked about cold calling, and he talked about going and knocking on doors. I'm going to talk about those two things that I just said, cold calling and knocking on doors. He said, absolutely, cold calling is horrible, blah, blah, blah. He said, you call 1,000 people to get one. Yeah, well, that's true. But it's a necessity in this business. Regardless of whether you're a truck driver, whether you're a carrier, whether you're a broker, especially if you're a broker. For me personally, as a director of sales for some national 3PLs, VP for other companies, I think I'm more than qualified to say that cold calling is essential in the freight brokerage industry. Yes, can you go knock on doors and get business? Absolutely. Can you land that big mega account by cold calling someone? You absolutely can, and I'm testament to it because I did it. You know, there was one day I walked in, I looked at a trade magazine, saw a company that was getting picked up by Walmart, I Googled him, found out who the VP of finance was. I called the guy. I said, listen, we can handle all your distribution of Walmart. He flew up the next day, signed a $5 million contract. No joke at all. And maybe it's because I'm a good talker or whatever, but that was a cold call. And that was a huge account. The company I worked for bought me a car. That was one of my bonuses, plus all the commission I made. So, at any rate, cold calling is essential, no matter what. And you know, our company makes, I think today it was 600 phone calls, 600 outbound phone calls with between 5 people. So that's what you do. You know, in terms, most of them are dispatchers. You know, we're dispatching today because we had a lot of trucks to get out and we didn't because of the rates, like I mentioned previously. But cold calling is essential. When we do sales, it's the same thing. I try to get them to do between 75 and 100 phone calls a day. Seems like it's not a lot. It actually is quite a bit of phone calls. I think myself today I had 98 phone calls, and I own the damn company, so I shouldn't be making that many phone calls, but it happens. And I'm sorry, Craig, disclaimer about your little photo. I ran out of time when I was originally making this video, so I tried to screenshot. I was trying to catch a screen of the video, and it caught your face, and I laughed when I saw that, so I'm like, boom, I'm putting that up there. So anyway, so yeah, cold calling is essential. Next thing he said, which is, it's wrong. You know, he said, and maybe I'm taking it out of context, Craig, feel free to make a reply video or comment down below or send me a PM, whatever. He said that don't go after shippers that have like, you know, only a couple of docks and only ship it a couple of times a month versus go after the guys that when you walk up, there's 20 dock doors, they have all different trucks there, all different company name trucks. He knows because they're using outside carriers and that's multitasking. That is not the way it works. I mean, I don't think I've ever encountered a company where they have 15 different trucks, unless it's Bed Bath & Beyond, because they have internal logistics departments. What those companies are doing is you're using a third party like Knight, Swift, which are Snyder, all the companies you mentioned yesterday, saying that those are the big guys, and you know they have the accounts. They do. They have the accounts, and they're also the broker on the accounts that are subcontracting out all those little carriers. So Mr. Independent Freight Broker, Mr. Independent One Truck Driver that goes in there and says, hey, I would like to work up, you know, to haul these loads. That is not the kind of account you're going to get. And if you do get it, you're going to be double brokering shipments and you're going to be, you know, hand over fist trying to get all the customers filled and all the orders filled. It's not, that's a big account. Those are the accounts I managed when I had a huge multi-million-dollar company to back it. As a little independent guy, I wouldn't even touch that account right now. Even when our product, which I'll talk about in a little bit, even when our product is finished and we're able to handle that kind of account, we're still not going to handle it because it's too much work. It's just not worth it. The little independent guys, like any of you truck drivers that are sitting out there that are, you know, tired of the spot market and just want that dedicated shipment, my 2 words, don't put all your eggs in the basket because dedicated freight ends. And when it ends, you don't know and it screws you over. Look at Falcon. I mean, that's what happened to them when the General Motors closed there, plus the other 3 companies that closed. It essentially put them out of business. They just handled it wrong. At any rate, go after the guys that you can't back solicit your customers. I know that. There's different ways to find shippers. Go knock on doors. Hand out business cards. I got one of the guys I dispatch for. He runs a hot shot out of Delaware. He had a day where he didn't find any freight. He went to Kinko's or Staples or whatever, had a bunch of business cards made, and he drove up and down in Delaware, because you know there's not much freight down there. He drove up and down to Delaware handing out his business card. That dude does not even use us to dispatch anymore, because he has so many direct shippers just from doing that. That alone is enough, showing, he pulled up in his truck and he said, listen, I own a trucking company, it's a little slow here, I'd love to have some business coming out of here, or coming back here, to help me get out of the where he was. And he does it. That's how you go and get business. And it's Craig said, knocking on doors. That is how you do it. Just don't knock on doors that are too big. And that's my opinion. Don't go after those companies that have 50 loading docks and they're all full, because you're never going to be able to handle that business. As a one truck guy, you're going to walk in and say, hey, listen, I'd like to move your freight. And they're going to say, oh, great, you know, we're looking for a new partner. How many trucks do you have? Well, I got the one. Well, you know, we ship 50 shipments a day. You're not going to be able to do it. Even as a broker, if an account called me today and said, I have 50 shipments a day, I would say, listen, I'll refer you to one of the big guys. You know, all those companies you hate, you know, TQL, all those companies, they're the ones who can handle that kind of account. A little guy can't. Even with my office and the people that work here, it would be crazy here. We'd make a lot of money, but it would be too busy. All right. With that said, he said a bunch of other stuff in the video. Super informative. Like I said, I turned it off around 40 minutes because I just couldn't handle it anymore. I was tired. So with that said, over here, you can't see my fingers, but this here, I think I can highlight this so you can see right there. This. Freight Brokers and Truck Drivers. It's a group on Facebook. It has 12,317 members. Join that group. It's a very helpful group. It'll help you learn. Craig's company, even though he didn't want me to promote it, I think it's Freight Brand or something like that. I don't know what they do, to be honest. All I know is I've watched a couple of his videos, and when it doesn't seem like he's reading off a script, because a couple of times it seems very rehearsed or script-like, no matter what, it's good. He has good content. He knows what he's talking about for the most part. And Craig, you ever want to make a video and do training or anything, you know, let me know. All right, next I'm going to talk about my company, Findme Freight, and I'm going to do it quick because I don't want any of these groups to say I'm advertising by doing this video. Findme Freight is a dispatch company. We are unlike every other dispatch company because we do not charge a percentage. We do not charge a flat fee. We do not charge, what's the other one? Flat fee, percentage, or like sign-up fees or any of that crap. So how do we make money? We work on a tipping system. So that means we do everything every other dispatch company does. But when it comes to actually paying us for the load, you could tip anything from $0 to $100. So when you deliver the load, we send you a link. You click on the link. You choose how much to pay us. We even on that email show you how much you would pay if you were paying 5% or something like that. And the reason why we do that is two reasons. One, we're building a tech, so we need to have capacity for the app. Like I said, I'm a broker, but we're also, you know, a tech company. So we're building a tech, and we need capacity, and we need to get trucks in. And plus, I have dispatchers. I have people that work for me that's what they do. You know, they're good at it. I'm training them well, and they like it, and so that's what we're doing. So the biggest part is just the biggest thing for us is making sure that we're fulfilling what we're trying to do. But, you know, providing a good service and making it so you guys, everyone that signs up, and all of our clients who use us, say, hey, this dispatch company is awesome. We've had a couple of companies already that signed up with us last week, moved 1 or 2 loads, paid us $25, $35 a load, which is fine. I don't care. You're maxed at $100, but they've referred a crap ton of business. One went to the in North Carolina. He went to the DMV to go do something with a tag with his trucks, and we had 4 calls, 3 signups from people that he just, you know, said, use this dispatch service. It'll save you a shit ton of money, and they're good. All right. So with that said, last section, I believe, is DAT loadboard. Up here, if you go to http, whatever that's called, / www.truckersedge.com/408339, that is my referral code. Full disclosure, if you stay on for 3 months, I think I get like $3 or something for referring you. So sign up. So I think it's $39 a month. It does all sorts of cool stuff. It's a load board. So, and you're saying, why would a dispatch service use a load board? Because we'll also do your packets if you find your own load. The whole object, my whole interest in this industry is training people. I like to train people. I like to talk. I like to hear my own voice. I like to look at myself. And I watch these videos over. That's what I like to do. You know, I like the load board. I like the industry. Actually, I take that back. I love the industry. You know, this industry is nothing else. I used to be a firefighter, and I came back to the industry. I love it. A couple of features about the Truckers Edge load board. Now, we use DAT Power. So, to be honest, I haven't used this Truckers Edge in a really long time, you know, because we use DAT Power on the broker side and the dispatching. It has a lot more features. It's more expensive. But it's powered by DAT, which is, you know, probably I think it's the oldest load board out there. The Truckers Edge is built specifically for owner-operators who want to find freight. It's easy to use and very affordable. It's a very, easy, ready to use. All right, whatever. Unlimited load searching and truck posting. Crucial thing, everyone, you know, there's been a couple other videos. Post your truck. You will get so many more calls, and the loads typically pay more than the posted loads. My opinion. Always post your truck. First thing I do every morning when I get to the office, I sit down, I make my cup of coffee, I sit down, I post every single one of the trucks that we have to dispatch. All, I don't know, too many of them. It takes me like 2 hours to post them. And I use it to multiple different load boards. But the only one I'm talking about in this video is DAT Truckers Edge, because it's the best. Anyway, it's got an instant alarm match notification for your searches. So, say you're sitting on your laptop and you're sitting at home and you're watching Maury on TV or Jerry Springer or Morning News or whatever you guys watch, and you're sitting there and you happen to look away, but you have that little alarm bell boom. It goes bing, 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 and tells you to look at it because that's a load you don't want to miss. That's what an alarm is. It's got mileage and routing. It'll tell you how far it is and routing, and you can do a map. Like if you click on the actual mileage, it usually shows in blue. It's a link. It opens up a map, and it will tell you the best way to get there and how to avoid it. You can choose different rates. It's got broker credit scores and days to pay. Now, Craig also mentioned this in the video. He said something, if they have 31 days, he doesn't work with them. That's BS. But then again, that's his prerogative. Just do your due diligence. Check your broker credit. You know, I have a new brokerage. We barely can get set up with any carriers, and that's perfectly fine. We prepay them, or we work, and if it's not a prepaid load, meaning we haven't been prepaid for it, you know, we do what we can. So, but we pay our carriers on time, and that's what everyone expects. It's just, when you say you don't work with a new broker, it always makes me laugh because new carriers always have a hard time getting work with new carriers have a hard time getting work with brokers. At any rate, we've just signed an agreement, so that's all done. We have, you know, free quick pay and all that crap. But that's for my features stuff. I think I already talked about it. Anyway, it does weather and road conditions. I don't, maybe that does, and I should probably do a little bit more research on this before I make these promo videos. But it's got weather and road conditions. It's got reliable partnerships. So they're partners with factoring. They're partners with everybody else. And they ensure that every participant in our network maintains a proper authority license and code of conduct. So I don't know, you know, there's a couple other load boards that if you lose the authority, as long as you're still paying, you can still use. Central Dispatch, which is an auto board. They don't do a great job of monitoring carriers or brokers for that matter after the authority has been gone. I'm assuming because Dad wrote that. Excuse me one second. I covered that because I don't want you guys to see the brand because they're not paying me. Anyway, that's a joke. If you can't tell, I've had way too much soda and I'm very tired and I want to go home. But with that said, so, and also, if anyone out there needs factoring, I can sign you up non-recourse factoring, which means that if customer doesn't pay, they're not going to go after you. Recourse means that they usually have an escrow built in or something like that, so they'll lure you in with saying, oh, we're factoring in the ones, but they actually have like a reserve of 9%, so you're advanced 90%. Long story short, if you need a good factoring company, we've partnered with one. It's all under our Findme Freight brand. Set you up with 3.75% non-recourse factoring, 50% fuel advances on every single load, quick pay, fuel card to 22 cents off per gallon at TAs and Petros, I believe it is. All that stuff. That's a little free ad. I don't have a fancy thing for it. Just PM or something down there. And with that, it didn't work. Oh, there we go. I'll see you next week.